think you have to record on your computer.
Okay.
All right. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So last time what we did, we just work on this data set. That was order, customers, product category, subcategory, etc. List of all the orders. And then we started like creating this simple tab, and we added two pivot table. One just simply showing the total profit per country. That's the grand total. And we build, I think we built this cluster column chart out of the first pivot table. And we added two slicer, three slicer, two simple slicer, which is segment category. Another was timeline slicer. As you recall, what we did, we just simply, in order to apply, when we choose any month or any segment category, you wanted to make changes or update pivot table and all the pivot charts all together. So what we did, we right click and we went to the report connection. We have to make sure, for example, if we say like we have two pivot tables, if I check mark this two, which means whenever I select, it's going to affect on both sides.
Okay.
For example, if I choose just September, as you see, everything's going to change. The pie chart, this pie chart is made up of this second pivot table and this cluster of this. So once we change this one, which means the value here will change. So accordingly, all this value is going to change as well. The charts will be updated. All right. So as you notice, we can create as many as pivot tables out of the same data source. Okay. So what if, for example, in the future, this is list of your order and you keep adding more orders. So you're going to go to, for example, you're going to go to end of the order list, you're going to add more order. Let's say I'm going to copy, just for testing purposes, I'm going to copy the last 5, and we assume these are the new one. I'm going to change the numbers. Let's do, for example, the 50,000, 50,001. Any number, It's going to be row number. And we assume these are the new orders. When you add it, so when you go to the pivot table, you may not see those last items added to the order list. The reason is that the source is just referencing up to this point. So source referencing from row 1 all the way up to 51,290. So we have to extend the data source range. How are we going to do that? So we go here, we're going to select any cells in the body of the pivot table. Let me get this out of my way. Okay. Then you go to the pivot table analyze contextual tab, the green one here. So here you're going to locate data grouping. Under data grouping, it says change data source. Then you click on that data source. So as you see, it's just referring from A1 through 51,291, right? So we're going to extend it. So that what I'm going to do, we can just again reselect from all the way up. So I'm going to delete, I'm going to click on this expandable button. I'll go here. Then I'm going to select all the column headings, Control Shift, arrow right key. Then Control Shift, arrow down key. So as you see now, it's included those last 5 orders that we added. So in fact, we extended our data source range. And we can hit OK. Connected filter. Let's remove the filter. We're going to take the filter out because there's a filter, it's been applied. Let's take this out. We're going to remove this out of the way. We're going to take this filter out. Okay, and then let's double check again, making sure the range is changed. It's not changed because the filter was available. So we're going to go to select again, Control Shift arrow, Control Shift down arrow. What filter is it? I'm curious, what's kind of filter? First, disconnect the filter controls. There is no filter. Oh, it's here. Let's clear this filter as well. I'm going to clear the filter. Is there any filter left? Nothing. Good. Now we can go here again. Actually, we're going to go here. The table. Change data source. Control Home. Control Shift. Arrow right. Control Shift. Arrow down. I hope this time should select. No idea what's the filter. And that's it. Is there any filter? I removed that one. There is no any filter left. We don't have any filter here. Gone. There is no filter. No idea why it's asking. Maybe, is this something? No. There's no any filter. Let me double check. So in the filter section here on the right side, there is no any fields. Down here, I don't see any filter here. This is gone. This is good, so that's fine. No filter. There's no filter. Where we have the filter, maybe this, we remove, clear the filter here. Don't see any filter. Let's try again. So we go to yeah, again, let's go to here again. Change source. Come on. The data system pivot connect to the filter controls that are also connected to the other pivot. Okay, so maybe we have in slicer, we're gonna disconnect. Let's disconnect this too. I'm guessing is getting error because this slicer connected to this pivot tables. Let's disconnect them first. We're gonna disconnect again. That could be one reason why it's not. Let's see this time should work or not. So we go here again, change, then we're gonna select from A down to last row. Done, yeah. The problem was that we have to make sure the report connection are unchecked.
Okay.
Then we're gonna extend the range.
Okay.
So once we extend the range, you go to the data tab, then you're gonna click on refresh all. Refresh all is gonna recalculate all the, for example, total profit per country, total sales per category, product category. So it's gonna recalculate, it's gonna update all the graphs, charts, etc. So let's say, again, you go to here, click on refresh all, Yeah, it's gonna refresh, but it's not, it wasn't significant. That's why it doesn't show it. Maybe just few number of orders added.
Okay.
It's been changed. So, but it's gonna, ultimately, it's gonna change the values of the sales, profit per country, per group. So remember, we wanted to show, like on this column, I mean this table, we wanted to show the top 5, for example, or top 10 country in terms of the profit. So we went here, value filter, gonna click on the drop down filter. You're gonna go to the top 10. Let's just leave as a 10. And the items is by total profit. So it's gonna show the top 10 profits. The category, we have only just 3 categories. It's not necessary to, I mean, display the top 5 or top. It's just 3 items. That's why this simple 3D pie chart is showing the total profit. It was showing the percentage. As you recall, in order to add the values and percentage, you're going to select the chart, you go to the plus sign, then you go to the data label drop down, more option. Under options, so it opens up this format. It's going to open up this format data label. So you go to this label option icon. So you have to check mark value and percentage.
Okay.
That's how you're going to add the you don't need to, I mean, calculate or ask pivot table to calculate the percentage. It's going to just calculate for us. Calculate percentage. Even if you're going to add the category name, the category here appears in the legend, but you have an option to add category names alongside with the percentage. Or you can just remove it because it's the legend, the color, legend, it does show like what category. So it's not necessary. So we can uncheck category, we just leave this one. So here you're gonna position the labels. You can position center, inside, outside, and maybe the best fit. It's gonna decide what area this numbers value should be positioned. But we chose outside and okay. Right, now we learn how to change the sources.
Okay.
Okay, let's go back to pivot table, analyze that to see what other option we're gonna use. So the pivot table identified by the name. So when you create the pivot table, Excel automatically define the names for the table, I mean the pivot table. The first one automatically defined as table, I mean pivot table 1. So you have option to change it. So you can put the, I mean, user-friendly name. For example, we're gonna say TBL stands for table and name it like TBL. Let's do PT. PT stands for pivot table underscore profit country. It's just a name, you know. Sometimes you create maybe over like 10 or maybe 20 pivot tables. In order to find them easily, you can define the name and easily find by name. Second pivot table, it's called pivot table. You can change it to pivot table. Let's do PT underscore like sales category. Okay. So the active field is just an active field. The field setting, we don't need to do that. The field setting is similar to the one we have. For example, if you select, let me close this format shape tab, I mean pane. So this is the pivot table fields. If when you select any cells in the body of pivot table, it's going to show this pivot table fields. If for some reason you close it, in order to display again or show it, so make sure you have to be in the body of the pivot table. Then you're going to go to the pivot table analyze. Then you're going to click show field list.
Okay.
Okay. All right, what was it? Yeah, field. Field setting is similar like the one, as you recall, we want to, for example, change the number format of the total profit. Total profits is under values. When you click on the drop down, So when you go to value field settings, this is exactly, this dialog box is the same as the one when you click on this field settings, is the same. Both are the
Okay.
same. So here we have available, aggregate, or summarize function. These are called aggregate
Mama,
function.
guess what I learned.
So we have sum, count, average, max, mean. These are all the available functions you can apply on fields with the values. Like total profit, I wanted to display the sum. So if you want, you can change the count. Count is going to show like how many orders placed by different customer in Australia, China. It's a 10 top countries. We can do the average, we can do the maximum. Even you can do some simple descriptive statistical analysis. You can do standard deviation. You can count the numbers, like standard deviation of the sample, the population variance, and etc. So these are just simple functions available to apply for the values in the pivot table. So let's do average, see what happens. So this is saying like the top 10 country on average average profit per order. Here is the country with the highest profit per order. Burkina Faso, Kuwait, something like that. Actually not sorted, so maybe Kuwait. Kuwait is the highest profit per order country. So if you change your mind, you can go simply here again, field, and then change to sum function. And another box here is to change the name of the column headings in the pivot table. So you can change, like now it's showing average. I'm going to change it to, let's say, total profit. Make sure you're not going to name it as the name of the field. If you just say like profit, is not going to let you do that, because profit is a reserved field in this list of the fields. So you have to choose different names, like total profit, like total underscore profit, not exact field name in the list of the fields. Okay. So the number format, as you learn, like just simply, you have to go change the format here. You're not gonna change the format on the home tab, on the Excel ribbon. You have to change it just simply directly here. You can choose any, like choose number, currency, data. It depends what type of data you work in. You're gonna change it. So if you choose currency to decimal, if you're working with different currency, you can choose different currency, country, currency. Okay. That was very simple. We're gonna hit OK. Now it shows the total profit. That's the total profit. If you're gonna sort it, you can right click on it, and then we're gonna sort from largest to smallest. And the chart will change as well. So it's gonna order countries per profit from largest profit to the smallest profit. Right, let's go to see what else. So here we talk about, you know how to insert the slicer, timeline. We refresh. You can do the refresh here. Refresh all, or you can option to go to the data tab and refresh all. But this refresh is specific to the pivot table and pivot charts. The one we see here, this is when you're gonna work with the Power Query. Next time, I'm gonna talk about, gonna walk through the get and transform data, ETL, using the Power Query in Excel. So when you have connection to other sources, so when you do the refresh, it's gonna refresh everything. It's gonna refresh the pivot table, it's gonna refresh the Power Query tables. So this is generic. So this is specific just to the pivot table. When you do the refresh, which means you're going to refresh the pivot tables or pivot charts. change data source. That was simple. So clear is gonna clear, for example, the action. So like, I'd rarely use that one. Sometimes I think we talk about this one, how to move a pivot table from one location to another location. If I'm gonna move this from here to here, so you have to be here, then you're gonna go move, then you're gonna select cells, not the new worksheet. I'm going to, in existing worksheet, I'm gonna move from here to here, for example. I'm gonna move, this is the way you're gonna move. You don't need to select it and drag it up, down, left, right. Just simply first select and then go to choose this feature, action. I'm gonna move it over here. And that's it. Okay. All right. So, and then to create the pivot charts, we practice, and we're gonna practice more pivot charts later. So this is where you're gonna create the charts out of the pivot tables. So here we're going to create the chart. So we created two charts. We built two charts, 3D pie chart and cluster column chart out of two pivot tables. Okay, these are the like field list, fields header. For example, if I click on it, so it's going to remove the field header. See that? This is gone. Right. The button plus minus. This is useful when you're going to add multiple, for example, fields under row section. For example, I need to, let's go here. So I need to find the top 10 countries. Then I need to add market. We need to find the total profit per market per country. So we're going to have two fields needs to be added to the row section. So I'm going to drag the market and I'm going to drop right before country. Okay. What does it now? Because filter it's in place, it's going to go to within each market, Africa, and it's going to list the top 10 countries. Same for Asia Pacific and Europe and etc. Now you see that minus the expandable or collapse button, plus minus. This is where it says like, do you want to display the plus minus? We say no. Sometimes you need to display, sometimes you can just hide it.
Okay.
So you can just collapse. In order to collapse all of them, let's do right click. Then you're going to choose collapse. Collapse the entire field. It's going to collapse them all together. If you're going to expand all together, again, right click, go to the expand entire field. Again, the reason it's showing 10 because we applied a filter just to show the top 10.
Okay.
So the field is just this pivot table field on the right-hand side, and then we talk about the field header. Okay. Let's take this out. I'm going to take this market, remove from the rows. All right. In addition to fields, the actual fields in Superstore practice, sometimes you need to create calculated field. Like for example, let's say I need to create a calculated field by which we need to calculate like we need to add discount. We need to add discount to the profit. For example, here there is a 0%, so there is no any, so we're not going to increase the profit. So here, let's say we need to add 10% discount, for example, to profit. So one option to create the column, we can say discounted. Sorry, we're going to take that, for example, 10% from sales. So we're gonna apply the discount on sales. So we need to subtract discount from sales. So it's gonna be discounted sales. So there is no such field, right? So we need to create our user-friendly calculated field. So we just simply say, take this one minus, again, sales times a discount. So this is gonna give us the discounted sales. Then I'm gonna double click on the lower right corner to extend the formula. When it comes to here, so as you see, the sales is 3,709. We take this 10% discount. So sales is gonna be 3,338. Now we have one column. So if you're going to apply, if you're gonna include this one in the pivot table, so you need to show, like, in addition to profit, for example, you need to add like discounted profit, discounted sales next to total profit. So because the table, the current existing pivot table is sourced from A through X, we have to extend up to Y. So we go again here, you're gonna go here, you're gonna go to pivot table, change that to source. Because the row, it's the same, just simply you can go and reselect again, or you can go to here and then just simply change X to Y. It's gonna extend from A to Y. Row name remain the same. Okay. Now we're gonna refresh. You should see that calculated field added to the list of the fields on the pivot table fields right here. And I'm going to add discounted sales next to total profit. Okay. You're gonna change the format to currency to decimal. Okay. So this is one way of adding fields, extra fields to the existing table. So notice that this is gonna it's gonna increase your file size. The reason it's gonna increase because you added one column, you calculated. So in fact, you're going to increase your file size each time. For each row, it has to calculate the discounted sales, each order. So in fact, you're going to increase your size of the file. So it's not efficient. So how we can create calculate without adding new columns to the existing table? So pivot table provides us with new feature. It's called calculated field. We're going to use that one. So let me name this one as calculated discounted, like sales _1. So I'm going to create another calculated field name. I'm going to name it discounted sales _2. All right. How are we going to create calculated field using the features? Calculated field in pivot table. So you go here first, then you're going to go pivot table analyze. So under calculations, click on that drop down field. There is option calculated field. We need to rename it. We're going to rename it discounted sales _2. It's just a name. The formula. The formula, we're going to use the formula. We're going to use existing fields to calculate, come up with the formula. As you recall, we take the sales. There is the sales. Double click to add to the formula minus, again, sales times discount value. And then we're going to insert field. Oops, sorry, not insert field. We have to add it. Done. So now we added the new field. It's called discounted sales 2. When I hit OK, it's going to add to the list. Okay. That's how we added the discounted field. So let me see, discounted sales, did I say minus? Yes, so I did say minus, let me double check again. In order to see the formula, again, you have to go here, calculated field. You're gonna select the field to look at the, actually here, from drop down, you're gonna select this field. We take the sales minus the sales times the discount. It's gonna show the discounted sales. Then I wonder why it shows all the negative. Oh, because it's applied the top 10. Maybe the top 10 is changed by discounted sales. It's okay, but this is how we added the calculated field. So you can add, you can use different fields in the formula to come up with your own calculated field.
But the raw data is not changed. That does
No,
not
raw
change.
data, no, it's not gonna change. It's not gonna add any column name as is discounted to.
Okay.
So there won't be any column name. It's just virtual columns added to the list of the field as a calculated field. Okay. Let me see what happens here. So if we go here, we're gonna go top, total profit. Let's do, yeah, it's by total profit, top 10. Then I wonder why it's showing negative. So maybe we have two range of, sales. It's just confusing. I'm gonna take this out. Let's remove the sales. Let's leave this one. It's just show the top. It's gonna show the total sales, for United States, etc., China, etc. Okay. What else? Okay. So again, as you notice, you can add as many as calculated field to the existing field list. So again, it's here. Just simply go here and then change that field. So I'm gonna remove this discounted sales number 2. I'm going to add, let's say I'm gonna add order ID. Remember, order ID, even if it is, let's see, where's order ID? Here, order ID. Order ID is the mix of text and numeric value. So it's not numeric. So the question here, can we add order ID to the value section? So order is kind of categorical type of data. So the profit, sales, these are nominal. These are numeric data type. But order ID, like date, like customers, like name, segment, these are categorical type of data. So you may add it here, but you're not gonna be able to apply sum, average, maximum, minimum. It doesn't make sense. But the only function you can apply, use it in the value section on those fields is the count. I need to add this order ID to value section. And it's recognized automatically and it's changed to count of order. Okay. Once I add it, notice that the chart now is changed. See that? Chart now shows 2 columns, orange and total profit. This is called combo chart. So you have 2 measure, total profit and count of the order. And you have 2 cluster column chart. Because they are not in the same scale. So definitely the profit is a big number. The number of orders is smaller, right? So the big number is dominant. So they're not gonna display on the right scale. So it's not scaled correctly. How we can change this orange one to display the right number, maybe same size as the first cluster for country United States. So we need to make changes to the chart type. So you're gonna right click, then you're gonna click on the change chart type. And let's see, let me see. Let me double again, right click, select this cluster column. Yeah, you have to select, not the right click. You're not gonna right click, you're gonna select cluster column. Then you're gonna right click. Then you're gonna go to the series, change series chart type. Okay. So in the series chart type, at the bottom, you see the orange indicates count of order. The blue one is total profit. So we can change the chart type on, let's say on the orange, we're gonna change from cluster to line chart. Okay. So because they are in the same, so they share the same vertical axis on the left-hand side. That's why the numbers, the number of orders, it's gonna be very close to the zero. So it's not visible. So we're gonna make the orange one the secondary axis. We need to create secondary axis just for the orange one. So the numbers they're not gonna share the same vertical axis. So for orange color, order count will be here on the right side. So we have to check box secondary axis. Now you see, even if if you click on this point, this data point, that data point is representing 9,996. So to look at this one, you're gonna use the vertical axis on the right side. You're not gonna use vertical axis on the left side. Left side is just for total profit. Right side vertical axis is for number of orders. This is how you're gonna make them like in the same scales. So now this is showing, for example, how the profit, even if the profit, like this is the largest from the smallest, but if you look at the number of orders, the number of orders like is not like in descending order. It's not from the highest number of orders down to the lowest, but even if the total profit is highest from the lowest, largest to smallest, but the counter order for countries is going to be different. So it does show like on this same time, you can see both number of orders and then total profit. Even you can add more. Let's say we need to find the average sales, not profit. I'm going to take the sales here. So we're going to change the sales total to average. So again, we can change the values, number format, currency. Let's do 2 decimal. Okay. Now let's see if we can change the chart. I'm going to click on the cluster column, change series chart type. We're going to make this this is going to be, for example, we use line chart for the count. We can use area chart. We're going to use area chart for average of sales. And we're going to use this too as a secondary axis. Okay. Because, it's just 2-dimension secondary axis. We added another dimension, so the area is not going to show properly.
Yeah.
So we can change it. Let's change. And let's just remove the count. From here, we're going to remove it. And then again, we're going to right click. We're going to go to here, and then we're going to make this both our area. We're going to change this to column chart. And then we're going to remove this secondary. This is going to be area chart. Now we have combo charts, which is combination of area and cluster column. Cluster column represent total profit, area represent the average of the sales. Okay. Let's see. So you can create very complex charts if you want. Let's go back to see, let's create another pivot table. We're gonna create one more chart and see what's happened. So let's say we need to create pivot table. Again, I'm gonna go to select cells. Let's say, I'm gonna move this over here. Let's say I'm going to here. I'm gonna insert the new pivot table just right here. So we go to the insert tab, pivot table, from table or range. We're gonna select the range, which is here. So existing worksheet, we insert in F15. Okay. Let's see, we need to find, let's say we need to do by state. Yeah, by state. We need to find the total sales. We need to group by, display, like within each state, we need to find total sales for different category. So we're not gonna add to rows. This time we're gonna add to the columns. So in fact, we're going to create cross table. So I take that category, I'm gonna move to columns. So now it's a cross table. It does show, it lists all the states on row and then categories. So we have furniture, office, technology in columns. Okay. So if you're gonna change, again, format, just simply go here and change number format, the currency to decimal. This is another way of creating the pivot table. Okay. So, yeah, let's do, we need to find the top 5 based on sum of sales. That's the top 5. Let's create the chart to see what kind of chart it's gonna recommend. So this is gonna be, you can click on that one, it's recommended pivot tables, pivot charts or pivot tables. Or you can do here, this is gonna recommend, pivot charts. So it recommends this one and it's gonna group like within California state, it's gonna list. So you have 3 different colors representing furniture, office supply, and technology. So within each state, it's gonna show. So you can go and then maybe choose line chart. Pie chart doesn't make sense, but column chart, you may choose the column chart. Even the area chart is not gonna be suitable. In this case, usually we use like cluster column chart. So in the cluster column chart, if you're gonna display in 1 bar, not 3 bars for each state, then you need to stack. Use the stack cluster. So it's gonna stack on each other. It's gonna show the proportion of the sales for technology, the blue one, office is the orange, and then green is the furniture. This is the simplest way of displaying multiple categories per state. Okay. I'm gonna hit OK. So once you create the pivot charts, you can keep these fields, the gray color fields. I usually don't use it, so I just hide them, hide all the buttons, field button on charts. So if you're gonna move this legend, you can move to the bottom, top, left. Let's see. Again, you're gonna click when you select the legend, click on the plus sign, and the legend position, let's put at the bottom. Make it pretty. Okay. So you can delete this grid line if you want. Select that one and just get rid of. So even you can display the labels, data labels on the chart. So click on the plus sign, then you're gonna go to the data label, and then you can display maybe in the center of each, or you can do something like that, or whatever. Let's do center. Or if you don't want to display on the charts, then just remove it, add data table. It's gonna add at the bottom of the charts here, before legend. Right, so what if we need to switch? What if we need to switch, for example, category with state? Let's see if we can do that. So we're gonna go here, we go to select data. So when you select data, it's gonna show this select data source. So you can switch the column and rows. So states goes to column, category goes to.
Okay.
That's easiest way to switch. So we move the columns to the rows, rows to the columns. Now each bar stack on each other, it's gonna show the top 5 countries. Top 5 countries. And this is the first category: furniture, office supply, and technology. You can just play around with this, like to display. Sometimes you need to like display rows, column, like switch over it. So you have more option to do that. Okay. That was one chart that we talked about how we created. What else? Let me see. So back to here, whenever, for example, you created pivot table charts, you're gonna have these 2 contextual tabs. In the design, just simply choose different style for the pivot table. So you have option, let's say you need the option to remove the headers, column headers, and here the report. Let me add one more. Let me move this over here. I'm gonna move this pivot table down somewhere. Let's move it somewhere here. Okay. Now, yeah, right there. So here I need to add one more category. So I'm gonna drag the subcategory. I'm gonna put above the country. Okay. So now, as we have 2 fields in the rows, how we gonna, for example, sometimes you need to display in tabular form, which means you're not gonna put like United States at the top. You need to display like accessory United States, appliance United States. So you need to repeat the United States, China for each row and display them in the tabular format, right? To do that, so you need to go where? Yeah, we're gonna go to the design tab. Then under layout here, click on the report layout. First, you have to say show in tabular form. Okay.
Mhm.
Now it's showing tabular form, but you need to repeat those items. So repeat all items. Okay. So it's repeat. So if this is like maybe it's just a plus minus sign, you can get rid of those plus minus signs. Remember how we did that? We went here and then we remove plus minus button. Now we're showing the tabular format.
Mhm.
It's just simple list. It's going to list all the, I mean, same country, different subcategory, and here is the total profit. And the average of the sales down here is going to subtotal. If you're going to remove the subtotal under each group, again, you go to the design. You're going to find the subtotal. Don't show subtotal. Gone.
Okay.
So you can work with the subtotal to show subtotal at the bottom. Show all the subtotal at the top of the group or at the bottom. So if we do this one, it's going to go here. Let's say we're going to display the subtotal at the top of the group. Now it does display at the top. Was it display at the top? Oh, it didn't. Let me see. Why? So show subtotal at the bottom, show at the top. Interesting. Why it's not showing? It must show at the top. Show all the subtotal at the top of the group. Come on. Or maybe we have activated the layout, the tabular form, the tabular report. That's why it's not showing. But this is going to be like how you show, hide the subtotal. And we have one grand total at the very bottom. That's the grand total. So we can get rid of that grand off for rows and column. Gone.
Mhm.
So you can do here. So you have more options like change the subtotal grand total layout view. And then sometimes you need like add the new blank row or remove the blank line after each run. So these are more options that you can play and then make it more user-friendly.
Okay.
So let me remove that subcategory. Take this out of A. Okay. So what else has been left? So we talk about the design, all the features, the pivot table analyze. We talk about all these features. So once you, for example, you have like, you created your pivot table charts, then you can create the dashboards. Name as a dashboard. And then you can create very user-friendly, eye-catching type of dashboards. And you're gonna share, and you don't need to share, for example, data. You don't need to share. You can just hide them, you know. You're gonna select them both, you can hide them. You're gonna just share the dashboards with them. So let's remove the grid lines. We're gonna go here, grid lines. Now, this is gonna be your workspace area. So you can take all this, for example, I'm gonna take this. And I just need to display the charts and then slicer and then timeline filter. I'm gonna right click, cut it, and just leave the pivot tables here. Okay.
Mhm.
So let me move this up here. We're gonna move over here. We can make them all the slicer one group. I'm gonna control key, hold down. Then you're gonna right click. Then you're gonna make them one group. So now you can move them together. If you select them, you can move them together. Okay.
Okay.
It's very easy to. Oops. Come on. Okay, same here. So you can choose the charts, group them, and then you can move them together. That's the easiest way to move. You can add maybe text, like maybe description here. Like in order to add the text, just simply go to insert and you're gonna go to add text box. Maybe you can just explain what is this, for example. You can add more text, give them end user like some instruction, like how to use this pivot table chart. Change the, for example, the back color. Let's do, for example, this color, and then add more text. Just make them maybe change the size, move them together next to each other. Then you can keep using the workspace, add more pivot table, create different reports. And then maybe sometimes you have, in addition to this source, maybe you can have another sets of data. Maybe you have list of employees, the salaries, you have like maybe the marketing, like maybe production, manufacturing, you have very different type of information. You can pull them together into one workspace where create multiple. And then create different pivot tables. And then out of those pivot tables, you're gonna create the charts, graphs. Even you can move the pivot. Sometimes you need the pivot tables, not the charts. You have option to move the pivot tables you created over the dashboards. So your dashboard is gonna be, ultimately your dashboard is gonna be final place that end user will use to, navigate, look at the summarized information, And then you don't need, for example, share this one. You can just hide it. And you're gonna give them only one tab to them. And they don't need to unhide. If they can unhide it, but in order to protect the entire workbook, so you go to the review. So you're gonna protect workbook. Let's say I'm going to protect the workbook. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the password. You can choose any password. I'm going to choose simple one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you put password, when the workbook is password protected, which means you're not going to be able to add new worksheet. Even you're not going to be able to right click and unhide it.
Okay.
This is one way to protect your worksheets. Just simply after you create, you finalize it, then you just need to display this dashboard, share this dashboard. Even if in background you have 2 more worksheets, but you hide those, you just need to display this one. Next time, if you're gonna work on those data, create more pivot table charts, make changes, just simply go here and unprotect. 1, 2, 3, 4, done. So now you should be able to add it. You should be able to hide, unhide, change the color. So unhide, I'm gonna do unhide this. I'm gonna unhide this one as well. Then you can start adding more data, maybe go to the workspace area, add more pivot table charts and move them to the dashboards.
Okay.
All right. I think that should be enough for pivot table. Next time, we're gonna start with working useful function. We're gonna start working with the lookup functions, text, date and time, text, those functions in Excel.
Okay, so functions are different from the pivot table.
Yeah, functions is used to, you're gonna give some inputs and it's gonna return some values.
Okay.
Function, for example, sum.
Okay, got it.
The input, let's say you have like 1, 2, 3 here, 1 here. This is gonna be your two inputs. You need to use these 2 inputs, add them up using the sum function, and sum returns single value, for example.
Okay.
So we have a variety of functions. We have functions under financial. So there are so many functions under financial.
Okay.
We have function for logical, text. There's been group, date and time, lookup, mathematical function like sine, absolute. There are so many functions, decimal, cosine, that we learn in mathematics. So you can apply this function against the value. It depends what kind of workbook you're going to create. If you're going to create engineering type of workbook, you may need more like function, maybe under mathematics, maybe under more function like for engineering, Statistical, there's so many statistical functions you are maybe data analyst or data scientist. You need to do some analysis using some statistical tools, functions. Then you have to, learn how to use all these functions.
Okay.
Probability, distribution, like we have to find Corel like is gonna find the correlation degrees between multiple variables. Confidence interval, like chi distribution. We have for example, normal distribution, binomial. These are all if you've taken some courses, if you know how to use statistical function, then this is the place you have to go and then use those functions.
Okay.
But generic function is going to be lookup, not the method. Sometimes you may use some function under math, but not all of them. But basically, you're going to use lookup, date and time, and text. This is going to be logical. These 4 groups you may use these are the generic function. It's applicable to any expertise area.
Okay.
It doesn't matter you are a mathematician, you are a statistician, you are for example, finance advisor, or you are maybe production planner, human resources. You should be use these functions, these 4 groups: logical, text, date and time, and lookup.
Okay.
All right. And then you have the file, right? You have the file. You have that file, right? You have this file, right?
Yes, I have the file.
And it's being recorded. You can go ahead and just start practicing.
Yeah, a lot of.
Okay. What I'm gonna save this one. The next time we're gonna work on SQL, right?
Yeah, SQL Friday.
Yes. Yeah, I schedule for Friday. Hopefully we're gonna start working on group by some advanced features in SQL, using the subquery, CDs, and more features like how to query the tables in SQL.
Okay.
All right. Let me stop sharing and talk to you on Friday.
Okay, see you.
See you. Have a good
Bye-bye.
night. Bye.